So welcome to District 4, to the point with information and news. I'm your host, A-Love. We're actually talking about financial literacy. It's going to be against the backdrop of employment. If you know that I did on the first video, we talked a lot about the terrain of employment and looking for it and how to find it and how many people are out of work versus in work, how many times people have gotten fired. If you haven't seen that, go back and look at the first video. This will be sort of an extension of that, but it's in a different respects. It's basically going to break down not the employment part of it, but the search and final destination. So it's kind of a continuation of the first one, as I stated earlier. But before I get started, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe in this bad track lighting. I'm sorry I have track lighting. It's no way to fix that. But that's what it is. So hopefully it's not killing me too much. So we're going to start with some statistics because I like to make sure we do our research. We have 11 Americans today need $11,000 more to maintain the same lifestyle over what they are making previously. Think about how much money that is over what you're making just to maintain the same lifestyle. It's pretty sobering thought, right? Another thing is 25% of employers plan to hire remotely versus, this is coming from Forbes now, 81% plan on making most of their positions hybrid. So half at home, half remote. So this speaks a lot to a lot of people. It means to make sense to when you're looking for a job. Don't do the old school searching. You want to start looking for jobs that change your career into things that can be remote or in the office. If the employers are saying that that's what they're going to do, that's what they're looking for, then it stands to reason that you would find jobs as you're shifting into new careers, because some of those careers are not going to sustain this model of change. That you find jobs and careers that are going to be able to maintain this sort of new normal, for lack of a better description, right? So I thought I'd give a list, because I don't want to take too much time on this video. I just wanted to give a list on some of the professions that have transitioned easily into this sort of hybrid remote business model that didn't exist prior to, I mean, I would go as far back as before the pandemic. We literally forced ourselves to change the model by being forced to have to be home. So a lot of people were still going to maintain their jobs and work at home. Now, let's go into some professions that transition. Also, a lot of people lost jobs. Some of those jobs aren't going to sustain. They may continue for the next couple of years, but they're going to be a completely different model, if not a job that you don't do the same at all. So just keep that in mind when you're building a career. And also in the last video, I did give percentages of how many employers don't want to keep people that have been there for years, or want to keep people, period, because they're trying to transition into something else. So that means a lot of people have been fired one or more, two or more times versus just once. Let's do some top stuff. So I'm going to start with the interesting ones first. Let's say skills. Let's first give a list of things that you can do to match these jobs that I'm going to list. Now, you want to sharpen your skills. This is obvious, right? A lot of people don't. A lot of people think that they've had it, they've done it for so long, or they have a good handle on it, not recognizing that there has been a lot of changes that have taken place. So you want to double check your skill set and then advance it and make it sharp, because you're going up against people that were normally working, because they have been working long term. Also, a lot of people got let go and want to change careers. This gives it a different competitive edge because you're moving into something completely new. So you want to take those transferable skills, as I mentioned in the first video. You want to take the transferable skills and sharpen them, just point blank. There's a networking nirvana, not really. I read that somewhere and it was described that way, and I think I was reading maybe like some sort of magazine. And that's not really true. People have less contact with each other now than they did before, but they are talking on text messages, internet, via remote, these types of things. But networking content, connection, the way that it was back in the day, it doesn't really translate the same. It's not that it doesn't exist, it just doesn't translate the same. Okay. And then you're gonna revamp your resume, obviously. Some people I saw a lady with a 2-page resume. No. To read that is probably gonna take more time than it is to go through 4 or 5 1-page resumes. So if you think in that respects of having to be the person to actually read it, you realize that it doesn't make sense to stack your resume and make it too long to actually finish. Okay. And then utilizing portfolios. This is really, in my opinion, the new resume. Your track record. That speaks better than any resume, because you can fluff a resume, but you cannot fluff a track record. Either you have one or you don't. So what a lot of people are doing, new, that a lot of people going into interviews don't know, especially if you haven't interviewed for a long time, is they're bringing their work history. They're bringing it in a portfolio. So let's say, for example, you're doing media relations or something like that. You can show that. You can actually, or marketing media, social media marketing. You can show that. And so you bring that in with your portfolio, with your resume that you already sent, bring in that portfolio and then show and explain your work. That's going to be the best interview, probably, more than anything, because now the person gets to see you in action, because you're explaining in action in real time what you actually did. And then remote interviews. Almost all interviews are remote. Okay, I worked at a company and still did a remote interview. I mean, it's just you can get more people, there's more traction, it's faster, everybody's more relaxed and comfortable. Take advantage of that. Be comfortable at the bottom, if it makes you relax more. And then also, again, if you're explaining what you've done, your track record, it's going to be more relaxed than you just trying to answer a random question with no backup. Okay, it doesn't make you as competitive. And then negotiate. I mean, people just don't. I don't know why. It's better to know going in what you're up against financially than waiting until you get the job and then trying to get promoted. I mean, this is almost the hardest way to do it. If you go in, you can take one of your other options that might offer you a better financial future, especially in struggling times. So one of the things you need to be asking is about where your money will be in a couple of years if you stay there. Okay. Now to the fun part. I have to get all the stats and everything out of the way. To the fun part. Now, what jobs currently, in recent current day real time, because I just got these stats this morning, so they're up to date, are making the most profit, right? Which ones are going to let you get that 11,000 more, and on top of that, maybe 20,000 more to help you not maintain your lifestyle, but exceed it. Let's start with number 1. Okay, so this is always on the list. These have to be the most highly paid people going anywhere, but investment bankers are always on the list, no matter what the time is, no matter how bad the economy is, no matter what. Investment bankers, they just are. And they are always at the top of the list, and they continue to be, because they're at the top of the list now. Financial analysts and portfolio managers along the same lines always make salaries, can be as low as 49 to 50, but can be as high as, can be as low as 49,965. I wanted to get exact numbers. To being as high as 330,000. That doesn't include bonuses or anything else. That's just base salary. And that's a start salary usually at 50 or higher, okay? You have CFOs and CCOs because they deal with money. I mean, anything dealing with money pretty much is gonna be especially at that high of a level. You're gonna keep those people because they are the ones that are helping protect and make your money for your business. So they're always on the list. The CFOs, COOs, some CEOs, they're going to be at the top of the list because they are protecting your money as well as building your money. So they tend to get, once you get a good person, you want to keep them. So you pay them so that they can live a nice lifestyle, right? You have a tax accountant, never not on the list. And then you have, just an accountant, period. But a certified public accountant usually tends to be on the list. Now they're a little lower compared to the other ones as far as pay, but it's not low enough for it to be a problem. They are still up there, even if you're not tax specific. Now here's some interesting things. You're like, come on. Yeah, we know those people make money. Do we need to hear that you're not telling me anything I don't know? I'm getting ready to tell you something you don't know. So we're gonna talk about the top blue collar jobs. This is for regular people, and you don't have to have a master's degree education for some of these to do them, but you can still make a lot of money. Elevator installer, they make about $100,000 a year. You would think, what? It's a job you don't think about, but somebody is actually doing, and they're getting paid well to do it. Think about every time you go in an office building, how many elevators are there? What if you just get one building alone, you're probably doing pretty well, right? We have a power plant dispatcher. I know you don't believe me, but they actually make around $95,570 a year. Just dispatching. I mean, if you're good phone skills and you're able to handle that volume of calling and transferring, you got yourself a job, right? Radio and telecommunications equipment installer. This sounds almost ridiculous, but they make in upper ranges of 60,000 and above to just install that equipment inside the radio stations. You don't have to be in an office. You don't have to work 9 to 5, and you're not committed to a contract. You can actually work for yourself and get contracted by the radio station. And then here's, surprise, surprise, construction. Construction workers, 65,000 or more, and that's a starting rate for construction workers. They make quite a bit of money, so, and they always have, and they are actually had surpassed the pandemic recession because it's open space that a lot of times they work in. Okay, so here's some odd jobs that you can make extra money at that are rather random but highly paid. An astrologist. Now, I happen to know this personally, not to tell you my personal business, but when I was in college, I did astrology over the phone. No cap, no lie. This is a true story. I really did do this, and it is a high-paying job. And actually, I'm looking at it makes between $45,000 to $85,000 a year. So if you can read tarot cards, you can predict some futures. I wouldn't lie about it because people do check you. You can think about having a career as an astrologist. It's actually a career. This is very big in Los Angeles, but host city tours. You would think this makes no sense. Like, why is this so highly paid? But in places that have a lot of traffic as far as people visiting, they give tours for that. People don't know what's out there, so you get a chance to show them what's out there. But they pay you really well to do it, and they pay you about $45,000 a year or more to do it. Very interesting. And then, this is getting even more weird, but waiting for people in line. Not waiting for people, waiting for people, meaning in place of the person that doesn't want to wait in line. This is a real job. I am not lying. You can literally get paid to go to the B&B, the DMV, I don't know, whatever has a line, a grocery store, and just wait in line for that person because they don't have to do it, right? They can pay you to do it. That's an actual job, and it makes good income, between 35 to 45. Which for standing in line doing nothing is it's a pretty good career. And then for all you college students out there, taking notes for people, or even business notes. Person doesn't want to go to the meeting, you step in, you take the notes. someone doesn't want to do the minutes, they don't have a secretary at that time, or the secretary moved on or quit, you can step in there and take minutes. So you can take notes, like as in college notes as in for somebody in place of them being there, or notes as far as minutes for meetings. You can actually get paid for that and get around the same as standing in line for somebody, but you're doing something more active, right? That's pretty much it. I didn't want to make this video too long, but I wanted to throw some stuff out there so we can kind of get a good idea of the terrain of business, the terrain of jobs. A lot of people quit their jobs because they want to move on to something else. Here's some alternatives even for CEOs, CFOs, COOs, CCOs. You can actually change careers as well into something where your skills transfer to you. Gone are the days where you had to be stuck there because you were. Now, in general, they offer you a better contract to stay. But for more than likely, if you just don't want to do that anymore, you don't want the stress of it all, the travel, the things that go along with that, you're kind of over it. This is a great opportunity for you to go and find a work where your skills will transfer. And same for blue collar workers. You can enhance your skills, you can get more education, you can move into a new career. And people that just straight out want to get out of a career, you can do some alternative stuff. Maybe do astrology while you're waiting. Just kidding. But you know, it's out there. It's a sad time, but it's also a time to rebuild. So thank you so much. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.